What's up? Howdy, hi. This is your boy Simon Stone with Dale Falk Jr. We call him Dale, the infamous DJ. You know, whatever you want to call him.
I guess I could say hi. Hi. I'm looking at myself in the camera.
Yeah.
I'm never on camera. You're
Never.
lucky I did this.
Yeah, you know. Well, you know, he is the executive producer here at NetFreqtv, and I am one of the creators of the NERDSEXY experience.
You're a producer too. You tell them what it is.
Well, you know, I don't want to brag on myself, you know, to dig me, but since you said it, I guess I can agree.
That is why we're here on NERDSEXY, is to be sexy
right.
and nerdy at the same time.
That's right. You can be both at the same. You can have a NERDSEXY experience with us, and we hope you have many. Here on this platform, what we're going to be doing is talking about everything from comics to anime. I'm actually working on something for the second episode for my love for anime, how it started for me. It may not be different. It may be different for other people, but where mine started from. And then we're going to talk about music, scary movies, where we're going to do some things kind of in the vein, I don't want to say like Mystery Science Theater 3000, but in the vein of that, where we review some like really hokey, scary movies and, you know, kind of just make fun of them and, you know, the outrageousness of the makeup and the outrageousness of how the acting is and everything else. So we're going to have that.
This is the podcast too, right? So
Yeah.
that way we got the audio versions. We got
got
all this
audio.
long stuff. We get to just talk sometimes.
We get to talk sometime. We're going to have different people coming on, creatives who, comic book writers, movie writers, and musicians that will be coming on. Some of my friends and family will be coming on. I don't really consider people I've known for more than 20 years just friends, you know. I mean, and even people like Dale, he's been, you know, like a brother. It's been, I think, about 10 years as well.
It's been about 10 years.
Yeah, decade.
Happy anniversary, baby.
I feel so loved. But so that's what we're doing on this platform. And what we're going to start off is Dale and myself, like most of us, we sat and watched. We've been watching WandaVision because that's the only Marvel content we had in a year. How they let that happen, I don't know. But we went a year with no content from Marvel whatsoever.
R.I.P. to Black Widow. She's still dead.
Yeah. You know, they brought a few. They what are we gonna do? And hopefully that gets released on the platforms. I mean, because
I'm not gonna lie. That might be the first thing I go back to see in movie theaters.
Really?
I have not been back to the theaters yet, and I really, you know, just like you and most of America at this point, I'm sure I'm done with it. I'm ready. I can go sit in a theater with a mask on for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't care. In Feige, we trust. I think that he is so gung-ho about keeping this in film that, you know, there's got to be a reason for it, whether way it's shot. And, like, I mean, I get that, too. Like, Avengers Endgame was shot to be on IMAX, you know? So, like, there's got to be a reason he's like, yo, y'all need to go see us together. You know what I mean? There's got to be something.
And, I mean, to me, like, the content there, I want to go back to the movies. I personally love the movie going experience. I like the sticky floors to the, you know, I like it all. I like the whole experience. I like going to the movies. I miss it, you know, because to me, certain movies, like the first one that really pops in my head is Endgame. Yeah. I saw that, my daughter and I saw that, and I remember just the uncomfortable feeling going into it because Infinity War ended with this really, like, I don't remember ever feeling like that leaving the movie. Like, I felt like I lost. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like it was my loss. Like, I was like, how did we do this? How did we let this happen? You know? And you know, here we are, you know, fast forward a year later. You know, we had some content in between where we had Captain Marvel in between. Yeah. You know, I mean, and that gave us a little bit of hope. Like, maybe she's going to come and save the day. Right. You know, and which she did.
Shout out to Brie Larson.
Yeah.
I love you, girl.
Yeah, he loves Brie Larson.
I do.
You know, he loves Brie Larson. And me personally, Monica Rambeau.
I mean, well, you know,
the plot thickens.
Technically, she's still on Earth, so, you know, a little bit more of a chance, bro.
Hey, because listen, I don't know if she's gonna be called. Well, can I? Well, we're about to do spoilers, so spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
I don't know if she's going to be, I guess we now can jump into this conversation. I don't know if she's going to be Photon or whether she's going to be Spectrum. We don't know it yet.
I really think it's going to be Photon. I think that they'll stick that just because her mom. Yeah. I know. It's like, what's going to happen? Where are they going with it?
Yeah. And then, you know, there are so many Easter eggs. And I guess now we're going to get into this real conversation now. Again, spoiler warning. If you have not watched the episode, get your life together, sit down and watch it, then come back. So with that out the way,
Episode 8 was great.
episode 8 was awesome. Really, the first 2 episodes, I was kind of on the fence. I'll be honest. I was
I remember the look on your face
Yeah.
when we watched it.
I was kind of like,
What have you got me watching, Dale?
But then we got to episode 3 and it picked up and has not slowed down a bit since. And again, Darcy is amazing.
Speaking of women that can call me.
The plot thickens.
No, I'm just kidding. Please don't call me. You probably would be like, this dude's lame.
Yeah. Well, the plot thickens. But, we have those elements that were starting to come in. And now, kind of going back, when Monica was first introduced, if you remember, now that I've watched this thing, all the episodes about 5 times, I don't have a life. But I went back and watched all the episodes. Monica had powers before.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
because when they were looking at the hex, she could see it.
Yeah.
Because she asked Jimmy, did he see it? She was like, you don't see this? It's right here. I see it. So she had some form of the powers. Now, did they get exasperated? Did they get accelerated? What happened? We don't know yet. I'm sure that'll be, hopefully, they have a lot to unpack in the next hour.
A lot. I doubt it all gets done. I think some of it shows up in other series. It shows up in Doctor Strange, who is absolutely showing up in episode 8.
We
9.
know he's coming. We already know.
There's nobody else that could explain chaos magic. There's nobody else that can explain what Wanda's actually going through right now. And we already know, thanks to Lord Feige and everything, that basically it's like a tag team movie in the next one, whether it's them against each other or I'm sure that at some point those two are going to end up working together.
Right. And the thing is that another thing from the episode is that if Agatha Harkness could sense that chaos magic, Doctor Strange has to know this is going on.
He's on the way.
Yeah, he's got to already either be en route or
he's probably I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. He's probably who saves them from the Vision, the other Vision, White Vision, whatever they want to call him. He's probably got something up his tank that we don't know about. I mean, also that's the other thing. Like, who's Ralph? When Ralph shows up, and I know there's been a lot of speculation on who the cameo is and that kind of stuff. And I've got my theories, and I don't know if we should try to spoil it.
Let's talk about theories. So this is just a theory. If we're wrong, it's not a spoiler.
It's just a theory. You're right.
It's not a spoiler because
theory.
Right, because if we're wrong, then you didn't spoil anything, and if you're right, then you were just a genius.
So all of these movies or all the episodes have been pulling people from pop culture into these references. We understand the sitcoms, everything else. And I didn't see this movie in that batch of things that they opened up. However, a really popular movie in the 90s with the devil and an actor that's still around.
Al Pacino. I was about to say Alpo, but Al Pacino.
It's got to be Al Pacino.
Yeah.
It's got, who else are they going to pull in that she would know what the devil looks like?
Yeah.
And it's got to be Al Pacino. It's got to
that would be the greatest thing if that right there. That's what I'm hoping.
He's a Ralph
because he is a Ralph.
He come in like, hey man, I'm Ralph.
And the other thing with that is that to me, Devil's Advocate is one of my favorite movies. Yeah. That's one of those movies that I have watched it probably 20, 30 times, if not more. And I always notice something in the background I didn't notice before. Like, wow, wait a minute. And you go back. And
Paul Bettany's a very renowned actor.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, somebody like that, I kept thinking, well, maybe it is Benedict Cumberbatch. Because, they didn't really shoot scenes together. Vision and Doctor Strange didn't ever really interact in the Avengers. Which I'm sure he's referencing that because we know he's coming.
Well,
but
technically, no, because I'm thinking.
He was giddy little boy, happy, excited on who he worked with. Al Pacino makes me giddy and happy too. Just the thought,
just be in a room with him. I think our birthdays are close to each other. I think.
Well, happy birthday to Al Pacino.
Always, but so that's another thing that we're seeing, and I don't know if it's going to be Nightmare or it's going to be Mephisto.
Yeah.
Because Nightmare has to at some point, because this there's someone else in the back.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
I would like for Agatha to be the person, but this week revealed she's not the person that's doing everything.
She's definitely not.
Yeah.
And it may have been Agatha all along on some of the mischievous stuff within the Hex, but like she obviously wasn't the reason for the Hex.
No.
So like all these different things that like they were misleading on and everything else. I think that you're probably right. Just like the real devil or whatever.
Mephisto.
Yeah, that guy. He probably has horsemen as well. So that's where Agatha and then like, but I also not 100% convinced that basically, Agatha's all evil and stuff.
Well, see, Agatha seemed more like
she was scared.
She was afraid, and she also
scared.
seemed more like, teach me.
Yeah.
I want to learn from you. Because she was like, how did you do this? Like, she was more intrigued and more fascinated. Like, if you can do this with no training, what could I do if I learned? If I figured out what triggered all of this?
Yeah.
So to me, I didn't see her necessarily. I mean, the last.
She said she knew though. She was like, I didn't think it was true. You're a Scarlet Witch. But like, and so the other thing that really caught me off, and we didn't even talk about this shit off camera, was the crown. Yeah. Like the witch crown and everything from the first scene when they're like pulling the life and all that, and like.
Yeah, and she didn't, and the crown didn't come to her.
Yeah,
whatever reasons were. So here you have another intriguing.
She's
thing.
already got the crown on.
Yeah,
the scarlet crown.
Yeah, so now the crown is not just something for the costume. It actually has a deeper symbolism.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because when she was watching, when the Infinity Stone. Because the Infinity Stone seemed to be choosing her. Yeah. It seemed that the Infinity Stone was like, it opened up and was like, hey, here's what's to come. And she had the crown.
It was you.
Yeah,
Baby, come back.
So now we have the questions of, we know that the Hex is, we know the Hex is there. Can the Hex version of Vision, can he survive outside of the Hex?
Yeah.
Can he survive at all? And he was not made with her magic.
Yeah, it was. You visually saw the stone doing it.
Yeah, the Infinity Stone because did the Infinity Stone itself want to come back?
Yeah.
Because remember, the Infinity Stones in past movies that we've seen, they have the ability to think for themselves.
Yeah.
So
what's the major thing attached to it? I think, and that's why we were probably lost so much with not getting to watch the Eternals yet.
Yeah.
Because that's probably explained in the Eternals.
Right. Right.
We probably gained that, and that's where they're like, oh, wait, that. Caught it. Nailed it.
But the streak was what was worth $1 million. If you're listening, he almost spilled his water, but
But shout out to little bro Chad Falk for the great Yeti cup that did not spill.
Yeah, so it did a good job. He did a good job there. But it's so many things to take from that because it was not her red magic that made this new Vision.
Yeah.
It was
the
stone that made it. Yeah. So if this Infinity Stone actually made him, is he capable of surviving? Yeah. And will that now be the Vision that we see going forward? You know, and then the White Vision, of course, is, again, I don't know how much people read comics or whatever, but we're going to give you a little spoiler. The White Vision actually is from the comics as well.
Yeah.
He was completely, West Coast Avengers. He was completely just a machine. He had no feelings, no emotion like the original Vision did. Yeah. So with that one, I think that's just going to be used as, I hate to say it, but a war machine.
Yeah.
So
hashtag plug for the, what is it? The Armor Wars?
The Armor Wars, and that's coming up too. That's something. So oh man. And I wonder if Tony is going to come back as an AI like Jarvis.
I don't know, but I'm going to put this out there. I'm kind of tired of Tony Stark's problems being the problems of the Endgame.
Yeah, well, it seems that the whole ideal that we have seen with Marvel is that for every one problem the Avengers solve,
it unlocks 10 more.
Right, they create more. Yeah. So, because to me, I'm hoping that they move on to something else at this point soon. I mean, I'm glad that we have the story that continues and they're all in the shared universe. But I would also like to see it pick up and go into other things. There's a lot in Marvel that can be done. There's so much.
We're at the tip. We're still not even going down the full path.
Because that's what I'm hoping that we see with things going forward. That there's some.
No, I am kind of surprised they're going so quickly into Secret Wars.
But see, we don't know how this Secret Wars is going to be. That's the thing.
It's definitely still going to be along the lines of Skrull invasions and stuff. So like,
But
I guess
again,
it makes sense right now.
What if they do the
but
original with the Beyonder?
I don't know. We'll see.
Now, the original Secret Wars, for those, again, we like to be sure we give you all the information. You can actually look this up as well. But the original Secret Wars was a 12-issue comic run that was made to sell a toy line, but they didn't have the time to put together a cartoon. They didn't have the budget to put together a cartoon. So they said, well, we'll do 12-issue miniseries, and that will be what promotes the toy line. Even though most of the people in the comics did not appear in the toy line, and several toys came out that were not in the comics. So that's a whole discussion for another day. But the Beyonder was this beyond powerful being that just picked everybody up and brought them to a planet to do battle against each other to see who was the most powerful. Should we stop?
It's cool.
Okay. So I wouldn't mind seeing the Beyonder.
Yeah.
And that's who I'm hoping that, I'm sure we're going to get Galactus because the Fantastic Four is coming. Yeah. I would like for them to take time to build Galactus up. Yeah. Where he doesn't just
actual destroyer of worlds.
Yeah. Where he looks like a threat and not like a cute mist above the earth. I don't want to see that again. Yeah. I don't know. That was a thing for a minute in comic movies because Green Lantern did the exact same thing. And there was another one that did that where it was like a mist, like a hazy mist above everybody. And that was
shout out to Fifth Element.
Yeah. That was. I know it was another one that I was thinking at the top of my head.
Oh man, Bruce Willis save us all.
Yeah, Bruce Willis has saved. Hey
Multipass.
Man. Hey, Bruce Willis gave us the greatest Christmas movie of all time. Die Hard is the greatest Christmas movie, man. This is. I would like for you to present a better Christmas movie to me than Die Hard.
Jingle all the way. Lord, I apologize.
Shout out to Sinbad. I'm pretty sure he's somewhere like, yeah, buddy.
Speaking of toys, you know what I
mean? So I'm hoping that with this next phase of Marvel, that we do get a little bit of break from the Infinity Stones, or if they're going to go into them to really go deep into each one.
And I think that's also what the Elementals is going to open up, or the Eternals. Excuse me, because I really think that we're going to finally get some of the backstories that opens up the other universes and the other storylines. Because as of right now, Earth was the sole reason for all these things coming, and everybody was really after Earth for some reason. So now we got to find out why. Yeah. And kind of like with other things that we're doing, going back really is how we're going to go forward. Right. We got to go back and uncover the origins of why so much is going on Earth. Why, why is Midgard this like iconic piece of, land, I guess, for
and considering all of the powered individuals that are in other places, why was it about our particular planet that makes everybody come here so much, because it seems like they're all coming here, and maybe because, and I also would like for them to show a reason why we can't get to them. Yeah. Because that has been a thing where we've been kind of landlocked, so to speak, on Earth. Whereas it seems like everybody else travels back and forth place to place. Why wasn't there ever a thing where Asgard said, hey, we're going to take a few humans. Let's show you guys how it is on Asgard. Let's just show you. Let's do some.
I mean, that's probably just politics and why aliens aren't talking to us now.
It was all.
If you pick up our sexy signal, though, know that we are here for you.
That's why you also need to watch our other series, Lost Interest.
Yeah, shameless plug about other things that are going on at the time. That's right, guys. We have our cool little podcast suite here in Atlanta, and I'm really excited for all of the content that's coming.
A lot of content
doing some good things. Yeah,
we got this. We got Lost Interest. We have our buddy Matthew. Matthew.
Shout out to Matthew.
Yeah, he has some great stuff coming. Great comedy show. I cannot wait for you guys to see that. But back on topic. I think another thing I would like the Eternals to do, there are three things I want from the Eternals. I want a more in-depth discussion on, if you have to keep talking about the Infinity Stones, give us more information on them. We've gotten a little bit, but how do they actually work? How does the Soul Stone choose people just because you had to sacrifice somebody? Yeah. How does that work? How does the Mind Stone actually work? What is the actual thing there? Because the only one we know about is the Ether,
Yeah,
That's the only one we learned a little bit about, but we still didn't learn a lot about it, just how it actually
I think we'll probably get those answers in Multiverse of Madness. I think that they'll probably go in a little bit more as we start to talk about magic and the things that hold things together and stuff like that. And so, you know, I don't forever see us going down the path of even magic either, because it does unlock Blade, it unlocks a lot of the mythical side around the comics. But like at the end of the day, the stories where they always get successful is human based. It's stuff that's about the human experience, about triumphing, about, you know, doing something more than what humans are. And so I think where we get that story is probably with the Elementals or the Eternals. I think that we find out why humans are so important to this, because like if you notice, there's also like human other populations and stuff around, like they just call us Terrans because we're from here, but like pretty much what was the other one that's basically humans?
I see it too. From Guardians of the Galaxy, because they look very humanoid.
I'm going totally blank. Sorry, it's been a long day in the office.
It's been a long day. We've been filming. We've been doing some things with. We had some stars in here.
We
today.
did.
We had some actual stars.
We did.
You know,
but
can't talk about everything.
We'll talk about more of that later.
That's later. But So what we are looking forward to is really, if they're going to expand this universe, how far is it going to go?
Yeah.
You know, because there's so much in Marvel that they can pull from. Now, we know that we're pretty much sure we've seen a mutant at this point.
Yeah.
With Monica, or even with Scarlet.
Both.
If not both. And what's really going to be interesting is how they interact going forward.
Well, and there was also a bunch of witches at Salem. You know what I mean? There was a bunch of them in that scene. So, like, obviously, this has been going on for a long time. Obviously, they have been here. It's just in the shadows type thing, you know? And so, I think that we'll get a really good supernatural element out of it. And so, you know, as we go forward, it will be, you know, a split between this is why humans don't see it. This is why they do.
And then, you know something, on the subject of Marvel, we're going to stay on this, and then we're going to switch in just a second. Why aren't the Incredible Hulk movies on Disney Plus? Is it because of...
Still Sony owned, I think.
Still Sony.
Yeah, those are Sony.
Oh, okay. But
I think it's a partner deal with... No, I think those rights are still owned by Sony, whereas like Spider-Man and that were co-produced with Disney, so they probably have Disney licensing rights.
Because I know the X-Men are there now. The X-Men movies are there. The Fox, but Fox is owned by Disney, so that was
Sony has some of them. I think Sony still has somebody else too. They have some other really big Marvel names still.
Yeah, and
we'll go back and research that.
Yeah,
too.
we'll have to research that. That'd be episode 2. But what I really am looking forward to is, I hope Blade makes a cameo sooner than later. I know his movie's a long way off, but even if they just do the after credit scene where he's just standing there kind of in the corners and, you know.
Honestly, I think that we could probably see a lot of folks show up in either the 10 Rings or, I mean, honestly, this is how I think that they could probably tie in a lot of stuff with what was the other city, Kuala Lumpur or whatever, wherever they're going in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
The other
I'm having like the worst brain freeze now. And I used to read the city that you're talking about used to be in every Wolverine comic, his solo comics. He was always there.
Yeah. And so that's why I think that we're probably going to see a few folks there. And then also, we're probably in the tournament. Blade could show up there as well, because Blade...
Mordu has to come back.
Oh, he's probably in the 10 Rings. I think he shows up looking for wizards.
Yeah, he's got to come.
Well, do we get Shang-Chi before we get Doctor Strange too, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, that's more of that movie won't need as much. I can't see it other than the actual Mandarin himself.
Yeah.
I can't see that movie needing a lot of.
Yeah, but they're still going to tie it in because he's going to show up.
But I'm saying it won't need as much post-production as the other movies would do.
Who knows with fight scenes these days?
Well, you know.
We're fighting on the surface of the sun, man. What do you expect?
Man, listen, I tell you.
It is amazing how fast some of these things are happening production-wise. I mean, Unreal Engine is absolutely unreal, and that's how they're doing a lot of the post-productions, a lot of the, you know.
Because they're doing it in real time now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's beautiful. It is really wild to think where production's going, and you know, I think that with the success of Disney Plus and the success of all these different properties, we're probably not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, I mean, as long Marvel right now has their finger on the pulse of it all.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because like when you look at DC, they're struggling, man. I don't know. I mean, they're really struggling. And believe it or not, I'm one of the few people, and I know I'll probably get a lot of hate mail in the comments. I welcome all comments, even negative. I'm going to get some negative comments. I liked Ben Affleck as Batman in the suit. I think that we didn't get a chance to see him enough to care about him, number one. And number two, I think that the bias against Ben Affleck is bigger than the actual idea. Those scenes, as a Batman fan, those were straight from the comic. His movements, that's the way I always wanted to see Batman move.
Except that dude was in Dogma, so I can't ever take him serious as a superhero.
I mean, in that part.
You already claimed the anti-superhero role, bro. So like, I don't know if I can see it. I love Ben Affleck. I there are times where I'm like, no. But like, I think that my problem with him was always probably as Bruce Wayne. Like, he probably just didn't.
See, you know what? Here's the problem with Bruce Wayne. Here's the problem. And this is with every Batman movie except Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton is what? In real life, 5'8", 5'9". He's not a big guy.
Yeah.
He's not even ever been, I don't think he's ever even been in great shape at all, you know? So if I saw that person as Bruce Wayne, the last thought I would have is that he's a vigilante at night beating the hell out of people and throwing people off of roofs. That would not be my thought. It would never cross my mind.
Ben Affleck's a big dude.
Yeah. So when I see Ben Affleck, who was literally probably slightly smaller than Superman in some ways, if not, but mass-wise, he was way bigger in the movie. I would have questions about who the person was at night. I'd be like, you know, the only person with enough resources to be able to buy all this stuff is Bruce Wayne. He's built like him, and his jawline is exactly the same. Even with mask on. I mean, how many times have you been out and you saw a person that you know with a mask on, but you knew exactly who that was just from one little... If I saw you on television every night of my life...
Like, wait.
You would know who Bruce Wayne is. Yeah. Like, if I saw Bill Gates out somewhere and all he had on was a mask, I would know that was Bill Gates. Like, wow, it's Bill Gates. You know what I mean? Because I've seen this guy my whole life. There's no way you wouldn't know. So I've never believed anybody as Bruce Wayne except Keaton. He's the only person I was like, well, now it makes sense that nobody knows who you are. Yeah. It makes perfect sense. Yeah. Because realistic, like even with the whole thing with Superman, like I remember watching Superman Returns, and the little boy looked up at him like, "Aren't you?
I know who you are."
I'm like, so you the only one with that good sense, young man? Nobody else could look and tell that this 6'5" guy walking around here trying to sell newspapers, is something wrong with this guy with this perfect athletic build? Right. You know?
Nah, I agree. And that's where, like, you know, some of the unbelievable parts of comics, like, they don't translate always well on the screen. No. But I will say that I am excited about the Snyder Cut.
I am very excited about that, which is where I was actually leaning into, and I'm glad you did.
Well, I think that it is going to be a redemption for everybody in that property. Because, like, I mean, I already love Jason Momoa. We already love Gal Gadot. Like, I mean, and even Ray Fisher and old dude Flash, like, what's his name? I'm going blank.
The actual actor?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, the Flash. It's Ezra.
Ezra Miller. Yeah, Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller.
He's. I mean, you know something. Now, I am looking forward to
his solo movie.
Yes,
it's gonna be the best property. It's gonna be the best one by far. He is the actual person out of all of them that I have enjoyed watching on screen, and like, that dude's got it. Because,
but
like,
you're gonna also have Keaton in that one.
Yeah, as Batman. Yeah,
as Batman,
and like
which could also set you up for Batman Beyond.
They already are bringing that in. That's been approved. Like, I spoiled you on your own show. Yeah,
I'm so happy. Like, I didn't know it was actually approved. I thought it was still.
It's coming to HBO Max. I just saw it today, actually.
Is it going to be a movie or a series?
It's a series.
Oh, that's
it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
My personal opinion, I would rather see Batman as a Daredevil-like series, like the Marvel Daredevil series was. That's the way Batman should be done. No superpowered people. No. Not necessarily. I want to see the detective end.
I want to see the return of the Joker in live action form.
I would love to see that. That to me is one of the best animated things that ever came out. Return of the Joker. outstanding.
What?
I think Batman also had that was the first animated with the
Mark Hamill?
no, the
'Cause he
first
was
movie they did was with I see it too,
the Phantom Menace.
no, not the Phantom Menace, the Mask. Luckily
Trusty iPad.
we have our trusty iPad. Can we get a sponsorship from them? But me saying that out loud, is that possible?
Hey,
Mask of the
we're talking to
Phantasm.
you.
That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that was it. Oh man, that was great.
Yeah.
You know, because you got the origin of the Joker in there. You have
Yeah.
Batman's origin. You actually see where, you know, some things about both of them, how they kind of, you know, each other kind of mirror each other to some degree, where one goes one way and the other goes the other way. And I love that kind. I like, you know, like the X-Men to me were always great, because here you have two friends that share the ideology that somehow it's split, you know. And a lot of people don't know that the X-Men are based off of the idea of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X.
Yep.
And why I love that, I'll tell you why I love that so much. Two reasons I love it. I love it, number one, because you have a situation where a lot of times the bad guy and the good guy really aren't that different if they sat down with each other and actually discuss what they were feeling and what they were upset about. You find that we have a lot more in common, which is why I love comics, because I love the idea of taking away the reality and you being able to write from a place of, this is where we are.
Yeah.
And here's what we do. You know, because if you look at it, most of the time, with what we were talking about off camera earlier, a lot of the Marvel movies, a lot of the problems were created by the solution from something else, because that's our reality, you know. So it's like, I'm looking forward to seeing more of these properties that bring that to the forefront, where we have the closeness of the villain, and like the Killmonger story for Black Panther. Why does everybody love that? Because realistically, these were cousins. They were related. And that could have easily have been T'Challa angry because he was left behind. If one thing was done different in all of that, one thing could have been different, and he would have been in the same mindset. You know, so who was right and who's wrong in that? So what I want to see from these properties going forward is more of the human interaction story, like you said, as well. Because that's the thing. Even with Thanos, why did we like Thanos so much? Because he was humanized to some degree. That small moment when he shed a tear for Gamora, I remember people being like, "Oh, wait," you know, because you felt something. He wasn't just this, I'm evil for the sake of being evil, and there's nothing else but to be evil. You know, I mean, I want to see you actually have a purpose. Like, what is your end game? Do you see what I did there? Did you see what I did?
And if you can't see us on the audio version, just know we're smiling.
But you know, so back to the Snyder Cut. We kind of got us off track there. Now, from my understanding, the Snyder's Cut actually ends in a cliffhanger, because originally the Justice Leagues were supposed to be very similar to the Infinity Wars, where they lost. And then they had to come back and win
part two, right?
In part two. So what I'm wondering now is, they're going to let the Snyder Cut go and then fix the problem in the Flash movie. With the Flash
paradox.
So if they do that, that would be, like you said, that could really bring DC full circle.
It'll have to. I think then they're able to, from then on, be able to spin off and go do other things, because at the end of the day, you got to close the loops that you're already open. You can't reboot everything in the middle of everything. So like, that's probably why we're going to see a lot of hell break loose during Justice League, and they're probably going to lose. It's probably going to go into where basically, you know, all of those demon scenes we've seen that are all flashbacks, the invasion happens, all that stuff, it probably comes to fruition. They probably lose, it comes to fruition, and that's how Flash has to save everything, is it goes back to warn Bruce about, hey, you know, the key is her. It's Lois. And so, you know, that whole thing, we probably see that come to fruition.
And I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I love Batman. That literally is probably my favorite character. It's Batman, Wolverine. Those are my two favorite as far as to just read about, because they're very intriguing, because they're both somewhat anti-heroes. You know, because in Dark Knight, in the comic, there's actually a panel there where Superman is talking to. He was like, he and Batman are talking, and Batman says, "Of course we're criminals. We have to be criminals. How else are we gonna catch the criminals? If we're not, we have to think like them to catch them." Yeah. He said, "We have to be." So the idea that this person is really that far.
You gotta be 3-4 steps ahead of him.
Yeah,
that's
so
why
like,
he's a master.
Yeah, I love Batman. Same thing with Wolverine, because here's a guy who realistically would just as quick kill everybody in the room as he would try to save them. You know what I mean? So it's like that's a very good story to write. It touches you in a different way.
There's dynamic to it. Yeah, they're very dynamic characters.
Because that's why I'm starting to read which is something else we're gonna get into on the 3rd episode of NERDSEXY. See what I did there?
Bam.
The New 52, they stripped Superman down, because to me Superman was always too perfect. I couldn't get into it.
He's big.
Because no matter what you hit him with, he had some power that would just develop, and he'd be like, "Oh, you know what? I can do this now. I can
freeze with my breath."
I can I can move myself so fast that I can go between the walls and save Lois. You know, I mean, and it was just too much to me. It was just always like.
I will say the watching him die at the beginning of the trailer, from the end of Batman vs Superman and all that, like that to me, I was like. When we watched that trailer, I was like, "This is how you score a trailer." Like they did such a good job.
Excellent!
With
That trailer
with the
looks
scream
great.
and the echo. Like they did a really good job. I'm excited about that.
We're only 2 weeks out from the Snyder Cut?
Yeah, we're only 2 weeks out now. And also speaking of that, and I guess this might be the good segue talking about the acoustics and all of that. For the second part of the podcast, I know we were going to get to go into the segments and everything. So now I was going to ask you, because from if I recall, you're going to be asking people guest stuff, and then they get to ask you
guests,
something, right?
So we're going to have guests because we have this excellent podcast suite.
Yeah.
You know, that you can come to.
Lights, camera, action.
Lights, camera, action. You can't see everything. Maybe we should do like a panoramic view of what
we'll
we
get
see.
there.
Yeah. It's kind of. Our clothes are over there because we had to, we changed the clothes for different things.
But what I wanted to do as my question to you from your guest is they get to ask you some questions. What's your favorite soundtrack from a comic movie?
I can tell you that really easy. Spawn.
Okay.
Spawn. No, yeah, Spawn. The Spawn soundtrack, I loved it. It was like a mix of rock and you had a lot of like electronica artists with rock artists and hip hop artists. It was a great thing. Blade 2 did that too, but I think Spawn came first, if my mind serves me correct. Even though Spawn,
I liked the movie. I liked the original Spawn.
I like the movie.
It was horribly cheesy. It was horrible graphics, but
the graphic that was it. Yeah, because Malbolgia looked like it looked like a cartoon. It hasn't aged well, but to me, that was actually. I'll tell you this is Spawn is actually what made me want to become an artist.
That's cool.
Like as far as like penciling, I remember there was an issue of Hulk vs. Wolverine that I found at a dollar store. They used to have this little dollar store, and that's where I bought my comics from. I was poor, so I had
dollar store.
Yeah, so I would go to the. Well, I wasn't really poor. Let me not tell that lie. But like I had to go to the dollar store because that's not true. But I had to go to the dollar store to buy comics because that was something I wouldn't get money for, budgeted. They'd be like, I'm not paying for that. So I would go buy comics at this. There was a place actually downtown Atlanta. You could buy comics for $1.
Yeah.
So I would go down there, and I saw this one issue of, I think it was Hulk, where Wolverine was literally going to cover with his whole hand through the Hulk.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it was Todd McFarlane was the artist.
Yeah.
I was so blown away by his art at the time. I thought this was the greatest looking comic book I had ever saw to that point. And so shortly after is when I saw Spawn on, and it's funny because we have a Spawn action figure, which we'll be doing reviews on NERDSEXY. And so that's what really got me deeper into comics. Yeah. That's when I really was like, you know what? I won't eat lunch for the next few days so I can buy the new Spawn when it comes out. Yeah. I won't eat this. I won't do whatever.
Do that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's what got me into comics. You know what I mean?
Shout out to my cousin. He was the one, man. He spoiled the hell out of me. He growing up in West Tennessee, he had so many, like I guess he's probably still got a few thousand, a few hundred
Really?
or whatever that are just like sitting at his house, and he wants to pass them down. He just had another child, so I'm excited for him. He's at a daughter and a son now, I believe. And
Congratulations.
I
That's
know,
great.
I'm excited
That's
for him.
great.
But like, hey, cuz, let me get them comics. Like,
That
hey.
boy won't understand what you're trying to give him.
It's too young, man. Don't let him see it yet.
You know, and I hope that you guys are enjoying this, and I thank y'all for watching, and I hope that we're coming through clear because we have these great, we have a great podcast suite here that you guys can come to, and we have very good prices. We had to throw that out as a producer. I had to let y'all know because, good things are happening here.
I'm like over here doing sexy things with my mic, so ignore me.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug for NERDSEXY on the sexy mics.
Yeah, so, and now I'll tell you something else I'm looking forward to this coming. That I'm really looking forward to. Actually, I'm going to go back. I'm also looking forward to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Which starts. They're saying that it's a making of that happens the week after, the in between.
I don't believe them. I don't. I really think that we're probably going to get a 10th episode. I really think it.
I don't know how they're going to wrap all this up in an hour.
I don't either.
I don't know
the making of Scarlet Witch. You're going to show us how you made it. Man, that's free on every synopsis or on every bonus feature.
Yeah.
Give me 10 episodes. That would be nice.
Yeah, be nice. Be nice.
Please.
What I'm hoping for is that Falcon and the Winter Soldier brings us not only. Okay. We already know who the. Well, they always surprise us, so we think we know who the villain is. There, we think.
Zemo.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Baron Zemo. But what I'm hoping we see in there, here's something I'm hoping. I hope we see absolutely nothing about the Infinity Stones. I hope there is nothing about the Infinity Stones.
I don't know, because with Bucky being under the Mind Stone and all that too, I don't know, because I think that for some reason they've got to tie in WandaVision to where, like, aren't they just right down the road? Like, aren't they just... Well, no, they're probably in Louisiana at this point now, because I think that's where Bucky lived. Or not Bucky, where Falcon lives. Yeah. So, okay, they're probably not there. But I was wondering, I was like, wait, aren't they all just, like, right down the road and stuff? Like, how do they not hear this?
The only reason that I would like for even if they did bring up an Infinity Stone, let it be toward the end on the 6th episode when they're about to go off. The reason I say that is because now with this, we have a chance to see some real action, number one. Number two, we have a chance to see some, like, actual comic book battles, like real battles, not just us doing the magic in the air,
wiggling your fingers.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
Nightmares.
I want to see some actual carnage, some stuff getting destroyed.
Yeah.
I want to see somebody knock a building down. I want to see that kind of stuff. That's the only reason I don't want to see an Infinity Stone.
Yeah,
I want to see some actual artillery being used.
What is that? Can you look up what that city is? Because I totally have forgotten what it is. I think it's like
Mandapore or something like that.
It's
and I know this too.
That's supposed to be in Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, I really.
It is so great to have.
I basically think that we're gonna have something show up from some of the other shows while they're there. They're like, we got to. Somebody's gonna be there waiting. The other thing is too, where's Hawkeye during all this? I know we got about to have his series and everything, but like he just got his family back, all that. Like, so like, is he totally like just hanging out? Like,
well, the thing with him is that I wouldn't mind if he's there. Mandapore, that's what it is. Mandapore. Mandapore. Listen, children.
I'm sorry, guys.
Listen, children.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. Okay, seriously.
It's been a long time.
I don't. Hawkeye, if he's there, I would like for his presence to be very small.
Yeah.
And not because I don't like Hawkeye, because I actually like his character a lot.
Yeah.
The reason I don't want his character in there much is that when his show comes, I don't want to. I understand having everybody kind of overlap and doing that, but I really want his show to focus on his rebirth, because his story arc, I really hope they go into what happened to him during those years after the snap.
I will say that don't give me hope line, and then like Natalie died. I was like gut wrenching. Yeah, like I was really upset. Like I remember that. I mean,
oh my gosh,
I couldn't imagine.
No.
Losing all of that, like my family, all that, like I could
lose your family, your best. I mean,
all right then.
And that's the thing with this show, with the WandaVision show. Kind of backtracking a bit, is that the PTSD is really you're
It's there.
seeing.
Yeah, we're really getting a full
yeah.
taste.
We saw it with Thor. We saw actually even in Endgame. You saw Scarlet Witch, not Scarlet Witch, but Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, showing the pain of it, of the loss. You know, and I think that to me is. To me, because the only person the interesting thing, the only person that had a better life after Infinity War was Tony, and he was a person that sacrificed himself for the most part.
He was like, "Yo, I had my 5 years. Thanks."
Yeah. And it's like, you know, he was the guy who, you know, that was a great story arc from the selfish, you know, person he was in the beginning. I was about to say another word, but you know, I'm trying to get sponsors. From the selfish person that he was. That was actually edited. I said another word. That he was from the beginning to a person that would sacrifice himself and lose the first time he really had something meaningful. Yeah. You know, I mean, that is a great story arc in itself to me.
So speaking of that and going forward in story arcs, what I'm kind of nervous about, and I don't know how to say this, at least please don't take this as a PC comment, politically icy, politically, whatever. I'm worried about the next Thor movie. Because Love and Thunder, like, I'm glad that they're going to go and, like, you know, bring back Jane, all this kind of stuff. I'm glad that we find some love and thunder in his life. However, we have just seen Thor get his life tossed over and over and over. He had to revisit his mom, who's dead. He has been through more than he gained all that weight. I mean, his story arc to me was like one of those that I didn't see coming originally. I didn't see him going and them actually showing depression the way that they did with like the physical effect of depression on this guy. Like it was for comedic relief because like, you know, everybody's dead right now. And all that kind of stuff. However, the actual significance of what they're showing on screen and the emotion and the problems that these people are facing, like this is real world problems. And so,
I mean, real world. I mean, Thor. I mean,
I'm worried though. Like in the next movie, like because he's gonna lose his powers. He has to give them to her so she can remain alive. Like I mean, that's.
And actually, it's funny because I just bought that comic, and I want to read it and see what that is about. I just bought that, like the graphic novel.
In the comic, basically, Lady Thor happens because Jane gets cancer, and so he passes his powers on so she can survive. And so if they're about to now depower Thor. I'm like, yo, we barely got a taste of Thor so far. Like, I mean, the first movie, he was kind of setting up his story. Second movie was not really about him. I mean, it was, but like Loki was such a heavy part.
Yeah, I mean, the second movie, you know, and it's strange. That's the one everybody says is the weakest. I think the first Avenger is the weakest to me. That's the one I have never been able to sit through that a second time since I watched it the first time.
I will say it's very tough. And I think because the original concept behind like, oh, we're going to build this universe, they were still having to like, you know, figure it out at that point. And so what I think was wrong with the first one was that it didn't leave us a lot of options. You know, like you kind of had to feel for Cap like the whole way through. Like, oh, well, he's just gonna get some juice and he's gonna be fine. Like, you know, like we had to feel that, like they shoved it down our face where I was like, Peggy Carter, yo, I'm excited for What If to see her side of it and like all that. And like, honestly, what kind of killed the first Avenger for me was the fact that they ended Endgame the way they did with him going back to then like completely, like, I mean, I guess that's the hero's journey, but, you know, but now it just leaves so many other problems. And that's always what the Avengers does.
A lot of problems that, I mean, because if he stayed back, that means that a lot of the things that were happening, he knew they were going to happen. And he could have stopped some of it. And do you stop it or do you not? What did you do? What did you do?
It's not my timeline, bro. Not my problem.
Yeah, exactly. So then it's like the other thing is that going back to Thor.
Not in my backyard.
You know, you could have warned him. You knew he was going to be at this spot. Hey. By the way, this is what's about to happen. You can stop it if you take these steps. These are the measures you can do. So it's like Thor to me is probably the most tragic. I mean, you have the two Thor has the most tragic period because I mean, you talking about you lost your dad, your mom, your best friend, your brother,
In
and
front of you.
in front of you. All of these happened. He saw all of
Oh,
these.
I hate that scene.
Yeah. Now here's the other thing. If he's the ruler of Asgard, he saw most of his
People
subjects.
gone, too.
So with that, I mean, you have to feel something. You know, it's very few. I mean, it was enough for them to populate a small city where they were.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never quite understood how Asgard was. It supposed to be like a planet, or is it just like a state?
It's a
What is
realm.
it? It's just a realm.
It's a realm, yeah.
So we just have a few thousand people, maybe a million.
No, there was, and when you look at the
scope.
presentation of that city within, you know, the first and second Thor, like there's millions of people there. Like it's a huge realm, and like, you know, Asgardians and other realms too. Like they're all doing things, and so like, yeah, the fact that we have to put them into a small town on the side of the coast, like. That's tragic. That's extremely tragic.
Because you lost thousands of people. Because I mean, the scope when you saw like the first Thor, it was huge. It was, you know, the palace alone looked like it was a few hundred people to keep that going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the crazy thing is too. Like, we really, like, we probably, I don't know. The best way I'm trying to get across what I'm saying is that like, we've got a lot of folks with a lot of problems in Marvel right now in terms of like. I mean, Wanda, we see her breaking down right now. Like, I mean, Thor isn't like Doctor Strange. Like, how is all this going to get fixed? Ant-Man, like, he's finally got his family and his daughter back and everything. So, like, you know, we're about to just see everything get broken up again to shambles.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm interested to see what happens in Ant-Man 3.
Oh, man. I mean,
because what's that going to do? Like, I mean,
where did they go next?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's got to be something along the lines of where, like, Adam Warlock shows up and they got to deal with him.
And there's
like,
now here you brought that up. So we've seen Adam Warlock's cocoon twice. Not one time, but twice.
Give it to me, baby.
What is the holdup? Maybe they didn't want to bring him in because he was strong enough on his own to beat Thanos.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
I don't know, but like I'm kind of pissed that we don't get that interaction between those two because their battles are amazing. Like because they're two extremely high-powered beings, whereas like we know Adam Warlock wins, but he was intricate in the comics to taking down Thanos. So like I think that they're obviously gonna have him as the bad guy at first, and they gotta stop him, and then he joins the team. Yeah, but then like,
but I tell you what I don't want to see anymore too. I don't want to see the endless hordes of. I know why they do it because of CGI purposes. You make one model and then you just duplicate the model, a million times, whatever. I really want to see like some more just one-on-one. I'm just as strong as you. Yeah. Now you got to deal with me. Yeah. Like the first Iron Man, for example, it was just Ironmonger and it was Iron Man. That was great for me. I didn't need anybody else. That was fine. That to me, I would like to see more of that.
It reminds me of Deadpool with the whole, and cue the big CG monster fight.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what I liked about the Spider-Man movie so far. He's only had to really deal with something in his own realm. Yeah. It's the same thing with the Batman movies. It's like scale them down a little bit. Yep. Give us just a story that's good. Like that's what I loved about The Dark Knight. Yeah. That's the scale of that was great because it's like you had the Joker, he was causing all this havoc, but it was a real world sensibility. It wasn't like this guy was because even some of the things with Bane was like, okay, now
So you're gonna toss him out a plane like that? Yeah, sir.
Well, not just that, but I mean, so you're making a nuclear weapon and you're not worried about radiation before it ever goes off. I mean,
No, I agree, and also we haven't even talked about this yet, and this is probably the sexiest man alive in this moment, Mr. Ryan Reynolds, aka Deadpool, bro. But Deadpool 3 is going to be amazing.
Like, I cannot wait for Deadpool 3.
We're talking about all this, like
we're talking about, I mean,
time travel, everything.
Yeah, and then the thing is that the Marvel Lord and Savior Kevin Feige,
he's letting it be R.
Yeah,
he's letting it be R.
He's really, because even Blade is not going to be rated R. It's going to be PG-13.
What?
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work.
That is horrible.
Yeah, you got to
They did Wesley Snipes an injustice. I know he's horrible to work with. I know all that boo.
Here's the thing with that, and I'm going to give you a different perspective.
He is the birth of Marvel comics and film.
I'm going to give you a different perspective on him. This is something people don't look at. Let's say right now you have NetFreqtv. We're going to use this, right? We have NetFreqtv. You and I, you're the director. I wrote this popular series. NERDSEXY blows up. you know, lost interest blows up. And then we enter a contract with, you know, huge conglomerate company. We won't say one because we do want sponsorship.
All the above.
So they come in and they say, you know what? Even though you guys were success with this twice over, lost interest, shameless plug. NERDSEXY, shameless plug. These things were great. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this from you and we're going to do a spinoff. Now we got to give these people all the screen time.
Yeah.
And just you in the background because we want to do the spinoff. So what you did.
No, I get why.
And I'm not saying that he was right. I'm not saying that.
He's not.
He's not right. No.
Because
but I'm saying,
if you want a successful franchise, bro, you got to share the screen.
Yeah.
But they did him a disservice with that third Blade Trinity. And they definitely did a disservice to us by bringing... I mean, I like that actor, too. Like, I like him a lot. But they did a disservice by bringing somebody in from the Netflix verse, and this, like, he was a key character as Copperhead.
Yeah.
So like,
but they killed him too early.
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
Oh man, that's even a whole nother discussion.
But that's the problem. We're going through too many villains without really seeing. Like Thanos was a threat because we just saw glimpses of him for so long, but like his minions were doing it.
Yeah.
So like, you know, Copperhead wasn't a minion for anybody really. No. Like, you know, like all that, there wasn't some big bad. Now I think if they bring in Vincent D'Onofrio into playing Kingpin, different story. However, they really did a disservice by not allowing Wesley Snipes to come in as Blade as an older role. If anything, like maybe having a kid and it becomes the next Blade or something like that. But like
that would be all. Now, if they had Wesley in there just long enough for him to have, I think it was it Shania Lathan in that original Blade movie?
I think so.
Where they had a kid together.
Yeah.
And she raised the kid away from him, and you know, and then one day his power started to surface. Oh my God!
Why did we not? Where are you guys at? Catch up, man. We're writing this shit for you. Come on.
That's all we need, man.
That's
oh
what
my
I'm saying,
God, that
dude.
would be the hottest.
That's what I'm saying. We deserved that.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes deserved that for at least enduring and making it where we are now. And so that's why.
He really seriously. None of these movies would exist without Blade.
So here's my I'm gonna just throw this out there and let's
throw
see
it
if
out
it
into
sticks.
the universe.
Just bam. So my dream scenario is that how we get the new Blade or like how all this or even play homage or tribute is a part of Deadpool 3. So hear me out.
Here, let me hear you out.
I want
to see where you're going with this.
So
let's see where you're going.
Apparently, and this is spoiler
Apparently.
Spoiler. Apparently, the talk is that Deadpool 3 is going to be a multiverse movie. And it'll probably even play on like Multiverse or Madness or something like that. I would love to see the Deadverse or something like that, like being funny. But it's probably a multiverse where Deadpool, if you remember at the end of Deadpool 2, he has a time travel watch. So he can go to different places. He goes to his timelines, and it's hilarious.
Right.
Then the snap happens. So he probably feels responsible at some point for like, oh God, I did this. I created all this. This dude got in here. And so he probably is being Deadpool dumb and is like, I go fix the timelines.
I would love for that.
If he showed up in the nightclub with Wesley Snipes and he's like, yeah, bro, do your thing.
Yeah.
Bye, Blade. I'd be cool. I'd 100%.
I mean, Wesley needs some form of cameo.
He's got to have it.
I don't care if it's a small. And I think they're going to do it. I just think they want to keep it very quiet. Because he was like, no, I don't have anything to do with it. I'm making another movie. And
But like,
and he's having a resurgence right now, man, because he's coming to America. Peace. That's this week, actually, by the way. That's this week.
It does come out?
Yeah, that comes this week. He was in Dolomite Is My Name, which was outstanding film.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I tell you what else would be interesting is that it seems that he and Eddie have a good working relationship now. Yeah. And, I mean, I don't know what Eddie would possibly do, but that could be a segue to get Eddie into...
I don't know who he could be.
I don't know who you'd be either.
I mean, and that's the other thing, too. I think as we continue to find talent to play these roles and find some folks, like, we still got to develop a lot of characters, you know what I mean? Like, and that's where I hope recastings don't come in, all that kind of stuff.
Where is Morbius?
Locked up next to the rest of the Sonyverse. Oh, that was one of the other characters that Sony still has.
Yeah. And that's, now, do you know in the originally Morbius was supposed to be the bad guy in the third Blade.
Yeah, and then they switched it out for the whole like we're gonna have a tag team. So
yeah.
Which I mean, Wow.
Yeah.
What a movie that would have been.
And that's why I'm not saying he handled it right.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what happened.
We don't know what happened.
Yeah, we'll never know what happened. But like, I can see where he would be frustrated. If you had this great idea, that would have been the best trilogy up until, I mean, Iron Man, I guess, or whatever you want to say. That would have been the best trilogy. You would have had these 3 Blade movies. Incredible. Because the second Blade, to me, is better than the first one.
Agreed.
I think the second Blade is probably...
Yeah.
I mean, just an awesome piece of cinematography. I love it.
I will say that my favorite soundtrack of music, and circling back to this, my favorite soundtrack. No. No, I wanted to know what yours was, and we just have hit on it so many times now. My favorite soundtrack growing up for comics or anything like that was actually Mortal Kombat. It was a video game one.
Really?
Yeah, I loved the Mortal Kombat.
See, I only remember that
growing
one
up.
song. I have to go back and revisit
Oh, dude.
because I only remember that one song.
So the original album had a
Kombat.
song on there called by KMFDM, and I just found out who they were. Like, I mean, dude, like nobody knows who that is. But they're like,
That's not the same. No, that's
no. This is like a Swedish like heavy like grunge band. Like not grunge band. They're like heavy metal like. Whoa!
Oh, really?
Like screamer type.
I don't remember the song. I remember that one song, the Mortal Kombat theme.
Oh yeah,
because that influenced a lot of music for a minute. Everybody had a song that.
Dude, go back and check out the first Mortal Kombat album. It was great. A lot of it was video game influence and all that kind of stuff. But following that, I remember paying very strict attention to soundtracks. And the next one that really caught my eye, or my ear, I guess, was Blade. Blade's techno, like at the time, I was like, oh my god! Like, what are these beats in my ears?
Yeah, I love that soundtrack, man. That soundtrack, "Kick the PA" by Korn.
Yeah.
My favorite Metallica remix.
Yep.
For Whom the Bell Tolls. Oh my gosh, I love that remix.
Yeah.
For Whom the Bell Tolls is probably like, I'm straight having a nerd freak out moment because I remember the first
Giggity.
This is gonna sound funny. We can all laugh. Y'all can laugh at this. So shout to Be Dirty. We used to live. We used to live in this house in what's known as the Bluff in Atlanta. Okay, this is this the Bluff. It's what it is. So we used to listen to rock. I listened to Metallica. He was more in the Soundgarden and stuff like that. And people were literally petrified of us. They thought we were worse than the devil. Like you had they were looking at us like, that's them boys worse than the devil. Don't say nothing when they walk by. Like people were really scared of us. And when I would listen to that particular thing, I remember pulling up one time. We went to go buy something. It was, I guess, ramen noodles or something stupid like that from this corner store. And we pull up, and that's exactly what I was listening to. For Whom the Bell Tolls, like boom, tap, 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 and everybody like went like this, like, what the hell is that? It's so scary. What is he doing?
Yeah,
I love that so much because of that reason. That day,
those drum and bass, like being introduced to that world at that time. Like, I mean, I still remember like most of the '90s, some of their techno and stuff, like Real McCoy, Run Away, like roller skate music and disco, like new disco, all that kind of stuff. But man, Blade putting it to a screen like that, they did such a good job.
I love that soundtrack. I think I said that earlier. That was the one I said. Yeah, Blade.
Yeah, you did say Blade, but that's why I was like, I didn't say it because I already knew you liked it. I already knew.
Yeah. So this week we have the finale of WandaVision. And we what, somehow we're gonna live stream after we watch it this week.
We can, man.
We have to.
We can totally do it.
We have to have some
the capabilities.
We have the capability.
Yeah, we'll do like a little.
I got
live
that reference.
Last 5 minutes. I understood that reference.
I understood that reference. I got it. I know that
Baby,
reference.
come back. I don't want to lose your love. All right, sorry, man.
We don't know the words of the song.
I
was just like, that's the only part I know.
I
I know that part. Baby, come back.
Baby, come back.
And any kind of fool would see.
Any kind of fool can see.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I just can't live without you. I guess I do know.
We're going to keep going with this.
Okay. But anyway, so to wrap up, this is the first podcast for NERDSEXY here on NETFREQtv. Shout to Matthew, another one of the producers here. Shout to Avalon. Jay, how you doing? Jalen, all the whole crew, man. Ponce, all of y'all, man. That's nothing but love across the board. AJ, congratulations on your new life that's coming. To everybody at NetFreak, to my buddies, I'm having y'all on here soon. To the Heavy Mojo crew, y'all are coming on here. Greg, a lot of the creatives, I don't want to shout everybody out because it's taking entirely too long, people. Don't take it personal if I don't shout you out. But thank y'all for listening and watching. Hit that like, subscribe. Whether your comment is good, bad, or indifferent, I want to hear it. Be sure to look out for Lost Interest. That's coming soon from NetFreqtv. We got a comedy show coming from NetFreqtv that's going to be hilarious. Matthew, you did a good thing there, buddy.
You're the man, bro.
We got, Freak Out. We have a lot of stuff here at NetFreak, so please stay tuned. Keep watching. Keep your frequency up because that's what it's all about. And come and have your nerd sex experience with us.
Yeah, come be sexy, baby.
Dale Falk, Simon Stone.
Peace out, freaks.